So welcome to another one of the Tech Geeks videos. The idea of this one is just to show you a little bit about the AI key. We've got a lot of questions about the AI port, the AI key, AI detections. What functions do I get? Do I need both? Does the AI key give me more than the AI port? So I just thought I'd go through and answer some of those questions just in this short little video, give you a few examples of how this all works as well. I'm not going to adopt the AI key. You should know how to do that probably fairly simply. You're going to plug it in, power it up, make sure it is on the same IP range as your main controller, whether that be a UDM Pro or a UNVR or something like that. And essentially, once it's adopted, you'll see it like this in the list. And really, we don't have many settings. Over up on the cog here, we have just these basic ones. Is where do you want this to be enabled? What cameras do you want this to be enabled on? All of your cameras or just on some of them? So let's just look up there. So we obviously can do that for computer enhancement. Our summaries, which are our key bits, it's going to interpret what it sees in the video footage and add tags to it, which are going to help our searching. We've got license plate recognition. Again, you might not want it to be trying to do that on a camera that's not got a good clear view of a driveway or a road. So as a result, don't waste its processing time. And then again, where do we want to do facial recognition? And obviously just brightness on the screen. Do remember there, catches a lot of people out. Night mode, lots of people come in and go, oh, tell us, oh, it stopped working because there's nothing showing on the front screen. So just remember, this determines when it turns the front screen off. Doesn't mean it's not working, it's just turned the front screen off. So change that around if you need to. So let's talk about the basics here. The AI key adds AI recognition features to a G5 camera. It adds enhanced to the G6 range as well. But I want you to hear this because this is where some of the confusion arises. This, if you like, is a reporting and collection of information system. This is not, the AI key is not real time. It's probably, depending on how many sessions it's having to process, maybe up to about 30-second lag behind it. So if you're wanting real time, for instance, license plate recognition for opening a gate, or you want it for face recognition for a door or something like that, then the AI port is what you're going to need. So the AI port is going to work with your OnViv cameras and your G3 cameras. It's going to add those AI features in real time. And then that can also then be enhanced and worked with the AI key. If all you want is some of the things that we're talking about in the search here, to be able to search around the content that has already been stored on your system, then the AI key will give you that. So it's going to give you that enhanced reporting, but it's not going to give you that live AI features that you might be looking for. So that's the key difference between the two. So the Ubiquiti writing on their website has been a little bit confusing because it does add AI features, but it adds them retrospectively. So it analyzes the data that's already been stored and then gives you that information. The AI key is going to help you, the AI port is going to help you do that in real time. So once you've adopted your key, like I said, you've gone through, chosen which cameras you're assigning it to, then really this is it. The first time you add it in, it will ask you how many detections you want it to go back through. I think there's a limit on that, I'm not sure, but you can push that back as far as you want to, or the maximum number of detections. And that will then go through and analyze what is in there and gives you that help to when we start going to be using the find anything feature. So this is really where the power of this device comes in. And for me, it's these two features that are probably going to help us the most. Really, it's what we're going to do in Alarm Manager and what we do with the find anything. So this is our find anything button over here. This is our live footage from around our office. And so these are all of our detections. So this can be a person. This can obviously come from a G5 camera that doesn't have AI detections, but it is able to detect a person. You can see me actually here at my desk recording it and the studio space that I'm in. But this now is being analyzed by the AI key, and further information is being written and stored about this. So if we were to compare this maybe with a a unit that doesn't have an AI key in, you'll see we're very restricted in here. This one only has G5 cameras, so it doesn't have the AI cameras in it. So we're actually, as you can see, missing a lot of the extra features from along the bottom there. So let's come back to the one that we've actually been looking at here. This is where the power comes. So we can now start to look in here. We're all detections. And really the free search up in here is probably one of the things. You see here, I've done a test one here for a woman wearing white pants. So this is actually going to go and look through and see any record that it has of somebody touching any of the cameras. This could be specific ones, but in this instance, we've done all cameras. And it's obviously going to pull that information. This is great, obviously, if you're in a big multi-site and you're wanting to track somebody down, maybe who's come onto the property, done some damage, or maybe even just walked through your building. You'll see that we've got options here for upper clothing and lower clothing, hat, backpacks, shorts, and we can start to either do this specifically by ticking these boxes on here. So this would be just looking for people who are wearing glasses, and there you go, catching everybody who walks across there. Or we could drive this a little bit more with our free text at the top. And that's going to allow you to see somebody who maybe came on with a black backpack but went through 3 or 4 different of your cameras, and you'd be able to see this all highlighted together. So then we start to look at very specific information that the AI key can add for us. So if we have, we saw in there, I could turn it on for transcripts. So if we want to actually show all the ones that we've recorded a transcript from, then we can choose transcript from here. And say we can have a look at this one here that Jaron recorded. We can both watch the footage back, but we can actually see a transcription of the conversation that happens. So again, useful to be able to pull that back on a camera. So you're just looking for that little icon there that appears next to any of the footage that you might have as it comes back, and that will remind you there's a transcript that's happened on there. You can see this if you're just wanting to see people who are speaking. This will show that really there's been some conversation or noise, but not enough to actually record a transcript from. You can do the same for this for where it felt there was a dog that was barking, glass breaking, alarms, and those type of things. But that sort of gives you some of those basic features that are in here. Now, look, it's not perfect. For instance, I was quite excited that maybe a McLaren had actually driven up our street. But unfortunately, no, it wasn't. It was the neighbour's small compact car. I was even then surprised that maybe a Rolls Royce had driven up our street, but unfortunately it was not that at all. But otherwise, in many instances, it is actually pretty spot on. Again, we can see the blue car there does fit into that Seat mould. But we can do things like here. So let's look for a blue truck. And this is the power of it. So now we're going to see where it's seen. So it's seen a pickup. This might be obviously maybe slightly more grey, but the sun pushed it to a slightly bluer colour. We can see the Star Trek truck that was in blue. We can see this ute or pickup here that was in blue as well. So this is where the power of the AI key comes into effect, really. Especially being able to choose things, you know, night or day, for instance, where we maybe see a backpack, and we can find every image whether somebody is wearing a backpack, even if they're on a bicycle. So those are where we can get around a lot of our sort of standard event notification. Then we can maybe drive a little bit more here into our people recognition, and this is quite interesting. So we can now actually assign faces to people. So we maybe find an image. We have an option in some of these images then to actually define more about that person and that image. So you might find a person, let's find this, or you may have gone through those, and you can see where it's defined this person already. We've got the option to unassign them, manage them, change the names of that person. We have this new feature in the AI key, which is to enhance the image. This isn't massive, change, but it often does define the outside of the shape and the contrast a little bit more. Just possibly helps with a little bit more of the recognition. I don't think even on this one here it's going to do much, but there is a little bit it does just of sharpening it up. And the nice thing that we can see is actually when we come to Alarm Manager, we can now actually use specific faces and be able to do things with those specific faces. So we can put a little bit more of definition around this. You can see this is the type of thing that we get from the AI key. So a person in a grey shirt and black pants enters an office with multiple monitors, cameras and equipment. The room has green walls, large windows and a door with clothes hanging on it. This is what we can then use our free search to do. And you can see this is just being pulled from a G5 Flex and being added after the event. And obviously it's identifying us as a person there. So if we find some detections in here, for instance, that have got a face icon that it doesn't know, let me just scroll down here. There's one here. All right, it's now defined that as Paul. So let's take this one here. You just see this icon and it says unknown. So we can assign this. So we can choose this option and then it will allow us to assign it to the person, which is me. All right, and then that adds it now as a known person. You've got options when you go into manage. Again, it's going to now look for similarities. And so you can see all of those similarities. Sometimes it may have gotten a definition wrong. And so you can remove that person from it or reassign it or enhance the image. So hopefully that gives you a way of seeing what you can do in actually improving this. Obviously you can write notes against this as well. So the people side of things is actually quite a good enhanced feature that you get with this. And we can then use these features in manage and everything to actually be able to handle and control what we've got and maybe merge all of these together into one person. We do have the option here just to, again, work on how precise we actually want it to be. If we want to look at a sign, then it's only going to bring us all of the people's faces that we have actually seen and have been assigned on this. So the people side of things, again, very easy and useful for finding more information. Then let's have a look at vehicles, another common one. Remember, you do have to enable the LPR feature in your settings, which some people forget about. Again, number plates are recognized. If we look at this one, which we did for a DHL vehicle that regularly delivers, we were actually able, you can choose manage. So I was able to detect its number plate and then I gave it a name. So instead of just having a number plate, we recognized it. And we actually created an alarm on here that every time that vehicle was detected, it would play a message to say that the DHL delivery driver had arrived. So again, where you see those indicators here, we can see the different number plates. It's not sure on this one. Again, you can use those options to define the number plates to it if it's not totally sure of what it is. It's having a guess. This one here is just having a guess at all vehicles, but you do have the ability to tune in the number plates a little bit further or assign similar vehicles. So this gives us, again, the depth of being able to do that, as well as defining. And like I said, this isn't perfect, it's improving all of the time, but it will help you to find certain types of vehicles if you wanted to. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a good summary up until this point. We do get some questions now about, say you've got a part of the access system. So you've got Unifi Access, you maybe got a Reader Pro, an intercom. Up until recently, you couldn't actually pair an AI port with some of the access devices, but you'll see on here in the version that we are in, I can't remember what version we are, let me just grab this here from the control plane. We are on 6.168, and again on access we're on 3.4.23. But you can actually see now that we have been able to pair up a G2 Reader Pro and a G2 intercom, which will follow through that you could do a G3 intercom as well. So once you've actually done this now with the AI port, then you'll actually find a few additional features. It will now be seen as a camera option, as you can see here, for the AI key. But more interestingly, that we didn't have before, certainly at the time of recording this, September 2025, you were only able to have basically always recording, and the continuous mode was continuous or entry events, not events only. Now we've got the AI port connected. Now we can do recording on events. And obviously now we've got everything from the license plate recognition to sounds for baby crying, barking, alarms, all of those bits and pieces. And that now means that with that in the system as well, we can actually use that as a feature for grabbing more footage from the door access system as well. So again, it amplifies what we can actually do here with the AI key. So hopefully that's given you an idea of what happens in the detections, how to find the detections, how they're actually shown together. The key probably for more of this comes with the alarm manager down here in the bottom left-hand corner with things that you can actually do from this. For instance, so let's create a new alarm. These are the two main features that you get with the AI key running here or with AI enabled cameras. We can now, for instance, choose from here what type of trigger that we might, and we can now start to free text in here. So man with a striped shirt, we can choose how precise we want it to be, which cameras we want it to be on, and then what do we actually want it to do? Do we want it to play a sound? Do we want it to notify a user? So those are geared, again, if you want to see what it would have shown up, then we can do a preview, and this will give you an idea of who it will have actually identified as an alarm manager. We've also got this ID option here for IDs, so we can do LPR. Geofence, I think, is really interesting. Not done much with this, so we will probably explore it in due course. The idea that the camera systems could be, or some cameras could be changed to recording or not recording depending on who's in and out of the property. That's sort of the idea of geofencing. Maybe do a different video on how to make that all work another time. But there is some start of that. We've not had a lot of it in the Ubiquiti devices up until now, but we're now starting to see what we can do now using AI features to enable that. License plate recognition, so maybe you'd use this alarm manager to open a gate or to send a specific message. Like I said, we use this to set an alarm, so we can do specific vehicle. We choose DHL, and then we get it to play a sound on one of our doorbell chimes to let us know that that's happening. What you can do in here with Face ID, you used to just have unknown and known, or unknown faces, known faces, persons of interest. Now we can actually choose specific people that we might want, and when that face is detected, maybe we want to unlock a door, or maybe we want to send an alert. So the power really of what comes with the AI key is what we now see as that reporting and the full function that comes with it. So I'm hoping that's given you a good idea of the difference. So let's just sum that up just to help you. So AI ports, it has a limitation to how many cameras it works on, up to about 5 if they're low res cameras. If it seems to be on access, door access, you're only going to get 2 per AI port. So you need enough AI ports if you want real-time AI event management, LPR, face recognition, all of those type of things. That's what the AI ports are there for. You don't have to have the AI key with that. You will have some searchability from Find Anything if you have AI enabled cameras or AI ports. And then if you want to add the AI key or just use the AI key on its own, you will get AI enabled detections off the G5 range and the G6. So obviously G6 do some AI already, but this will now enhance it, and you will get these features. Remember, it's going to be retrospective, maybe up to 30 seconds or maybe a little bit longer, depending on how many events are actually happening in your network at that moment in time. But that hopefully helps you define where you might use an AI port on its own, an AI key on its own, or maybe both together. Why don't you head on over to our YouTube channel? Got plenty more how-to guides, explanations, useful documentation there as well, box openings, as well as many performance reviews. So why don't you head on over there, subscribe, and stay up to date.